You built the event, you captured the data, and you handed the list to sales. And then the signal went dark. Not because your event didn't work, but because your revenue team wasn't built to receive what it said. Events are the biggest and best first-party signal generator in B2B, but somewhere between the ballroom and the boardroom, most companies still drop the baton on follow-up and leave sales completely freestyling. It's Event About It with Aleksandra Panyukhina. She's been pushing events into revenue conversations for over 12 years, while most of the industry was still debating whether events belonged in the marketing budget at all. She runs one of the most intentional event-led growth motions I've ever seen at a B2B company. She's also a professional salsa dancer and teacher, which means she understands that in any good partnership, someone has to lead. And today we're going to talk about why that someone is events. Welcome to the studio, Aleksandra. I'm so glad to have you.
Hi, Megan. Thank you for having me.
So before we jump into all the events and, nuggets for the day, I want to dig in and hear a little bit more about being a professional athlete till you were 23 and being a salsa dancer, and give us a little glimpse into what that life looks like.
Yeah, I sometimes joke that I've had multiple lives, and I kind of enjoy it, and I feel like maybe it's time I try one more. So that's true. I've been doing cross-country cycling up until I was 23 years old. I also did sled dog sports, bike touring, cross-country cycling with a dog that is pulling you and is speeding you up. So speaking about the partnerships and how the synergy works together. So yeah, I've spent probably since the age I was 10, 11, right, till I was 23, it was all about sports, but at the same time about the education. I've graduated with all possible awards and whatever that might be. I was really focused on both studying and also excelling at sports. So I kind of had to catch up in my 25s
Yeah.
on the series, on the partying, on just having friends and having that free time to hang out. But I also believe that that was a great way, first of all, to see the world. I traveled a lot because of that, and also that was one of the beginnings. Of my future career, because in the off season or when I was injured and had to take some time off sports, I was supporting with event organization. So I knew what it's like to create the experience, both for the core purpose of it, for the athletes to be able to compete and show their best, but also how to create a great experience out of it for the crowd, because ultimately we want to bring more crowd in, more spectators, more fandom around the sport, so that we also build more ROI out of it, and how all the experience elements can come together and work for multiple audiences and multiple stakeholders that you have there, and how do you create that emotional connection. That has really been so fascinating for me, and that's when it all clicked: events, experiences, and marketing.
I love that because most of the people in the industry, if you ask them, I fell into this, I grew into it, and you made it a very intentional choice to do it. So we're going to dig into that in the after show, but I love hearing your journey. And do you think that being a professional athlete and getting that behind the scenes of how the events work kind of gave you a leg up when you started in the event marketing world? Like, did that help prepare you for what you do now?
Definitely. First of all, the discipline, 100%. Not talk about the endurance that helped me go
For
through all
sure.
the events, but also the understanding of how the team needs to work together. Because even in the individual sports, there is always a team behind you, and there is always a team that really makes it possible for the best results to happen. Understanding how this different dynamics works, I think, let's say at 23, I had more exposure to it than many of other people my age at that
For
time.
sure.
Plus, as I mentioned, a lot of travel gave me a lot of that intercultural experience. At that point, I've worked with different cultures, and that definitely was another advantage that I keep carrying with me for sure.
Amazing. It's an incredible journey. And I mean, I love that you picked this industry because it's my favorite. Okay, well, 12 years, 5 continents, millions in pipeline. If anyone can tell a buying signal from a noise, I think you might be the only person that can. So we're going to put it to the test and we're going to play signal or noise. So I'm going to read you an attendee behavior, something captured at an event, and you tell me if it's a signal, sales and marketing should know about this and act on it, or it's just noise. It's data, but it doesn't actually tell us anything. All right. And you're open to giving a 1 sentence reasoning if you want to. Okay. Are you ready?
Let's go. Yes.
First one, an attendee scans their badge at 12 different booths across 2 days.
I would say that depends, just like everything depends. What was the purpose of the event? Who was the event for? Was it 12 out of 112? Was it 12 out 13 or 12 out of 12? Or maybe some were actually duplicates. Was it a very targeted event? Was it a very mixed target audience? And do these vendors make a compound sense as a one area of the solution, or are they all different? So honestly, with signals, that's the part. You can't just say without having the full context and understanding. So it can
Great.
definitely be a signal that this someone is just collecting swag. So we don't want that and we don't need that. Or it can be a massive signal that what you created really resonated with the audience. And this is such a great signal if you're a running event as a business and you have exhibitors that you can show that, look at that, you have consistency, you're getting people um, coming through to you and being interested in the solution. So the answer is it depends. It depends on the context.
I completely agree. Next one, someone attends 3 sessions on the same topic at your owned event. So your user conference, for example, someone attended 3 sessions on the exact same topic.
Oh, well, that's an easy one. That's definitely something you and your sales team should probably be aware of.
Yeah, definitely a signal there. A prospect who went cold 6 months ago shows up to your event and stays for the entire day.
I say it is a signal, and I know sometimes the sales team can argue that, but to me it is a signal. Close those deals that resurface because of the event still have the potential because it means the trust is there, and the reason the deal was lost was not because they went with a completely different solution. They don't trust you, they don't like you. They actually do that. Maybe it was external factor. And if the lost reason was they went with a different solution, it means that they are still in their research mode, or they are in their research mode again, so there is a window of opportunity.
Yeah, agreed. An attendee requests a one-on-one meeting on day one of a 3-day event.
Who is attendee requesting meeting with? Is it your sales team? And how is it happening? I would say it is definitely a signal. If anyone is requesting a meeting with you, you need to see what this meeting is for and why. It could be a very, very strong one because they came and they know what they want. They want to have a meeting, they want to talk about something out of 3-day event, and you have 2 more days to get more touch points in and to get them on your side.
Yeah, great. Someone watches the session recording 3 weeks after the event ends.
That needs to be looked at in a combination with other signals. Have they been researching your company previously? Are they just watching all recordings? They landed on your watch page without any previous knowledge and they never left that watch page. They didn't go to explore what your solution is here to offer. So it needs to be looked in the context of what else is happening on that journey. And it is a marketing signal, not yet a signal to prompt the sales outreach because maybe they are exploring, maybe they're curious, but they haven't yet reached the threshold of transition to the sales conversation.
Agreed. That's definitely a marketing signal to, like, for nurturing, send them a couple more resources. An attendee gives your event a perfect 10 on the feedback form.
That's a lovely signal for your happiness post event. But there is always a twofold system here. Was that person your ICP? Are they from your target account? Can you use that signal to build a conversation starter out of it? Or is that person who's not exactly the ICP, but you like them or you want to keep them in your ecosystem, but you not do not necessarily care? Or was it your ICP target audience who rated it 10 and that was a completely new format with the new content that you tested specifically to address that ICP? Has very different weight, but it's
Yeah,
still for marketing.
agreed. I think context definitely matters there. I mean, it's a
Yes.
great signal that your event worked, especially to your point, if it was, a new format you tried out. So they're definitely interested in coming back to
Yes.
your event, which could lead to a good signal for sales.
Yeah. Signals without context are noise. Signals with context become actual signals that you can act upon.
Oh, I love that. I mean, we could just end the episode there. All right, last couple. A prospect shows up to your happy hour but skips every session.
And they're there for the drinks or catch up with their friends.
Yeah,
That
that's
means
nice
they're
too.
not taking you seriously,
Yeah.
which is also a signal in a way.
I mean, maybe not a positive signal, but it does tell you something.
Yes, it does tell you a story.
It does. An existing customer brings their CFO to your owned event without telling you in advance.
That is definitely an interesting one because, especially if it's happening in 2026, what is most likely going on, especially if you have good relationship with that customer, their usage and adoption is high, they have already been through renewals, but all of a sudden CFO appears. CFO is reassessing the vendors they're investing in right now. All companies are going through the consolidation of their tech stack, and some of the tools have to go. So it could definitely be that one. So it is a worrisome signal, or it is for some additional reason, but there's something going on there, and them not notifying you also shows some cracks in your relationship. So it's definitely something to look into.
Well, I think to put a positive spin on that, it could be a good thing. Like maybe, again, to your point, context. So maybe that person's been in pipeline for a while and you've been trying to close it. And at the last second, their CFO was available and they've been pitching your
But you mentioned
product.
that it was a customer, an existing
Oh,
customer,
you're
not a
right. I did say it's
prospect.
an existing customer. Well,
I'm
maybe they're up for
listening.
maybe they're up for renewal and
Yeah,
they're
but if
bringing their
they're up for
CFO.
the renewal and the CFO appears at your event, it means that it's not going as smooth and it's just an
That's
approval
true.
by default.
That is accurate. Yes, exactly too. Okay, last one. Someone visits your booth twice in one day, but never books a meeting or takes any collateral.
They're exploring and they want to do it on their terms.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, that was signal or noise. I think we realized all your signals need more context. Like one single signal is not necessarily going to move the needle or give you all the context you need. Okay, well, now it's time for my favorite part, the event of the week, because sometimes the only thing tighter than a load in schedule is our patience. This is your safe space to let it out. You've seen all kinds of events, so tell us what irks you the most about the events industry.
I don't know, just boring and stale and the same as, in the 1990. And yeah, with no offense, I see more of those events in the United States, but that also because the industry originated in the United States, and some of the events just still haven't caught up, that times have changed. And that mostly happens at events as a business. And I say that B2B companies tend to be doing a really good job with events. So that's one thing. But the other part that really always kind of annoys me is bad targeting and segmentation. Like just recently, I went to a conference and I kept receiving invitations to dinners and some side events. And I see this and I'm not your ICP. Why are you inviting me? But they've been insistent. They kept sending me the invite. So I signed up and they didn't approve me because I'm not their ICP. So why did you keep sending me your invitations that looked like personal invites? Like, come
Sure.
on. And then the good old, thank you for stopping by. I never made it to the event, so how could I have stopped by your booth when I never was there? So these things I just think can't exist anymore in 2026. Seriously.
Both of your examples also drive me crazy. I can't imagine getting an invite and then you finally respond after the 15th nudge and then they reject you. It's like, why I invite you?
Yeah,
That's so
and
crazy.
I know how these things work. I know why you're
Of
doing it, who
course.
you're doing it for. So that's why I was like, no, I'm not gonna even react to this. But okay, maybe you really want me there for some reason. No, clearly not. You just made a mistake.
Yes. And I get equally as annoyed when my inbox fills up after an event with thanks for the stopping by. It's like, I didn't even come to your booth. Like, and then
Huh.
I'm like, well, what list am I on? Like, where did you even get my information to say thanks for
Yes.
stopping by? Then I get worried about like where my data is lingering.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next up, we're going to event about it. This is the part of our show where you get to spill the tea on a memorable event moment. Whether it was a huge success or a total disaster or honestly just chaos, I want to hear about it. So give us a great story. You've done a lot of events, and sporting events have some wild stories.
Yeah, I definitely have. How many do you want to hear?
Oh my gosh.
I have a
As
bunch
many
of
as
them.
you want to tell, we'll
Uh,
take all of
Do
them.
I need to pick one? Well, I'll tell one story that is related to business events, and there's a big learning for in it for anyone who is planning to run an event in the United Kingdom without having the entity in the United Kingdom. UK has the craziest requirements for the insurance policy, like for your public liability in event-specific terms. And apparently, these terms are really hard to comply with, and to find a broker who would insure your company that is registered outside the United Kingdom post-Brexit, that has become a big issue, and they still haven't figured it out. Like it's been what, quite a few years,
It
but
has
well.
been.
Um, so the situation was that we had an event in the UK. It was a few years ago, and but that was my first event of that scale and with such type of layout and the venue requirements specifically. So we did start our insurance process with our broker the usual way and the usual timing once we got all the inputs from all the vendors as well. And well, they were not very responsive. Okay, the broker was not great either. Um, so 3 weeks before the event, still no response. 2 weeks before the event, still no insurance. The venue keeps notifying us. We keep following up with the broker. Nothing, nothing, nothing. It is the day before the setup and 2 days before the event. I'm already in London. I'm talking to the venue and explaining to the situation that the broker is struggling to find the coverage, the support that to find the additional agent to get that insurance with that requirement to cover the event in London. So they're well, we totally understand and sorry, but we can't let you in for the
I
setup
was going to say, did
unless
they
you give
lock
us
you
the
out?
paper.
Yeah.
Well, then, I just made, all possible moves, and we've done the impossible. We got the insurance. It was 5 p.m. and I was like, great, you got the insurance. And then it says London, United States. So obviously in the United States, there is a city with every single name. And because our broker was in the United States, so they just took London from the United States. It's 5 p.m. Nobody's working after hours. So I got the personal phone number to the person who was working in the UK on that side, managed to call her, got the, and she was kind enough to actually do the extra work after hours, fix that, send it to the US broker who was still working. They got it approved, got it all processed. 8:30 p.m. We are at the dinner with the team. You know, everyone is eating, enjoying, having a glass of wine. I'm just kind of sitting there because I know that, you know, it's very close to not happening. 8:30 p.m. I get a beep on my phone and I have the certificate and it's all correct. And we finally got that. Um, I probably did drink a glass of wine in one go for sure. Well, the big learning is start the insurance process like, I don't know, 3 months in advance. Have a better broker and if you can, just get a permanent insurance that complies with this crazy requirements. So that was one crazy story where it came probably the closest for the event to not happen.
Yeah, that's
And
down to the wire for sure.
yeah, the other one when I had the event come close to non happening was back in the sport days, and that was because of basically call it act of God, but there was a Mother Nature where we were hosting the event at the north in the north of Russia, and there's always snow in December, always.
Yeah.
For 100 and something years, that has been observation. There would be 1 meter of snow at least. Well, there was nothing and it was pouring rain, and we had 2 days left till the event, and the only option was 5 kilometers up. There was a lot of snow because they change in the altitude.
Mhm.
So for the next 48 hours, we organized a non-stop um, work of huge trucks carrying snow from up to 5 kilometers to the trails to put the snow on the trails. It was for the winter race, and we had 4 shifts of people, two on the altitude, two down, who were putting snow up on the trucks and taking snow off the trucks and putting it and grooming the trails. So that was a work. In when I say nonstop, it was literally like that. It was nonstop. It was a massive effort to make it happen. And yeah, probably one of the hardest, physically one of the hardest events to date to actually manage. And since then, I never trust the nature and I never trust the weather. And if someone tells me we've got a perfect outdoor venue, it's so good. Like, yeah, but the weather, it never rains. Trust me, it does. The moment you don't expect it and you don't need it to.
We sat down at the Site Global conference, and we had a woman who was, I think, in Italy, talking about how she was doing this huge site visit with this big wedding fam trip. And she kept saying, it never rains. It never rains. It's always beautiful here. And the first day it rained,
Of
more than
course.
they've ever seen. But your story is interesting because most of the time people don't want snow. And this was the one time you actually needed
We
snow.
actually
Like,
needed snow.
yeah, most people are trucking snow out of their venues. They don't want it. So it's really interesting that you guys were bringing the snow in because you needed
Well,
it
we
for the
needed a
event.
snow trail, yes, so
Yeah.
that was.
So with the snow getting brought in, did that change the trail in the competition? Because maybe it wasn't as fresh, maybe it melted a little bit. Like, how did that change the event?
Yes, we had to still comply with the distances, but we turned it into multiple loops trail instead of being just one big nice loop through the forests. So it definitely created its complications and made an impact, but it still happened. And the most important always for any race, the conditions are equal for everybody. So there
Yeah.
were no exceptions, and everyone was racing in the same conditions. So that was the most important. And it was it was not dangerous, and it was complying with all the standards. Yes, it was not the best you can ever have. These were not the best conditions you could ever have, but they were equal for everybody, and they were
Well,
not creating any danger.
yeah, I mean, that's the most important. And the event went on. So more than anything,
Yes,
you guys
it
made
was
it
a very
happen.
good one, I must say. Even though I operated as a robot, to be fair, after you don't sleep for that long.
Of course.
But I do remember some flashes of consciousness throughout.
Well, and I think a lot of us, when we go through experiences like that, we tend to just like block out. Like we got through it, move on. Let's never relive this moment again. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining. Tell the audience a little bit about you, where they can find you. You're one of my number one favorite people to follow on LinkedIn. So tell us where we can find you.
I am on LinkedIn. I am there every single day, reading, interacting, commenting. I do not post every single day right now, but quite a few times a week. I'm also in various communities about event marketing and B2B marketing. I'm also on Substack, even though I am on hold there because I want to come out with with something fresh and new and something that reflects a little bit more on my current work and my current mindset about events as go-to-market motion.
I love that. What's your favorite community that you're a part of? I'm always looking for new ones.
I am for the B2B marketing in general. I'm part of Exit 5 community and B2B event and film marketing. I am on the Event Marketers Club.
Amazing. Three to check out for everyone. And go follow Aleksandra over on LinkedIn. I promise you won't be disappointed. And that's all the time we have for today's episode of Event About It, where we connect events and marketing and prove that live experiences aren't just logistics, they're a growth channel. If this episode made you think differently about how events drive pipeline, brand, or growth, make sure you subscribe. That's how you'll catch what's coming next, including the Event About It after show, where Aleksandra and I dig deeper, where we get into the event industry trend everyone keeps pretending is working but isn't, what it actually takes to build community that doesn't die in a Slack channel, and what she actually thinks event teams look like in the next 5 years. If you've got an event or a story or a moment from the field that deserves to be unpacked, you can submit it at eventaboutitpodcast.com. Until next time, keep laughing, keep growing, and keep eventing about it.